Hockey Insiders today and every day all season long, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports, your locally owned sports memorabilia and apparel specialist. You can find them just north of the Yellowhead, St. Albert Trail, 128th Ave, or visit them online at proamsports.ca. The website has more details on some signings they've got locked and loaded. Like you, they are Oilers fans, they are sports nerds, and they are AM nasty, so you can slide on over and chat with the Cooks and boys. They got those car flags, talking about team spirit. Are car flags, let's ask Dregs. Like, when the playoffs start in Toronto, do you see Maple Leafs car flags pop up, or is this just like a Western Canada thing? Dregs, where do you come up? What's the car flag like out east?
Yeah, it's significant.
It is. Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I would say that for major events like World Cup of Soccer, things like that, the international fan really takes hold of it. And you'll see Greece, you'll see the Italian flags and all of that. That's very prominent. But yeah, you see a lot of not just the Toronto Maple Leaf car flags, but then the license plate wrapper, right? Always has like "Go Leafs Go" or 1967 or something along those lines. So we definitely see it, no question about that.
I think this morning, from an Oilers fan view and approach, you say, who wants it anyways, right? After
who cares if you didn't beat them once this season?
They're still in the playoffs and they're where they are. But how much do you make of the Canucks kind of, completing that series? Because obviously the games at the beginning of the year, a different time really for this Oilers team. And then post-Knobloch, you've seen what they did. And Saturday night, I think a pretty evenly matched game, I guess. But your thoughts on that, and I guess the season series as a whole between the Canucks and Oilers, and how you think a potential playoff matchup might go between those two.
Well, look, I mean, you can dismiss season series because none of it really matters until you get to the playoffs. But it does give you an indication of measurement of where you're at. The matchup battles, all the head-to-head stuff. Vancouver is a much better team, much different team with Thatcher Demko. That's pretty obvious given the heroics of Demko prior to his injury. So how do they match up? I think they match up pretty well. Best on best. I still like the Oilers, with all due respect to the Vancouver Canucks. I don't think that the season for the Vancouver Canucks is a mirage. I think that they are a really good team. They're super well coached. But when I look head to head, I like the chances of Connor McDavid, finding his way. Leon Draisaitl finding his way. I still have faith in Evander Kane, even though there's been a lot of negativity around Evander Kane of late. I think that this guy is a built playoff performer. And if he can elevate his investment, I believe he will. He's going to be a tough handle for any team. And in this case, we're talking about the Vancouver Canucks. But you look at the season series, and it does give you an indication. If you're a coaching staff, you've already poured over all the videotape of the season series, and you're trying to expose what their weakness might be. You're trying to tighten things up on systemic play that the Vancouver Canucks, are going to bring into the equation, be it through the neutral zone, the defensive zone, all of those things. So there's a lot to learn until you drop the puck in game one of a best-of-7 series. And then all of that kind of goes out the window. And you got to lean on your best being better than their best. It comes down to that being as simple.
Darren Dreger with us, presented to you by Pro-Am Sports this morning. Mark Stone returned to practice late last week. We know what the buzz is on social media. We know what the buzz is with fans. What's the buzz like around the league from people that you would talk to behind the scenes about Stone trending very nicely towards opening up the playoffs?
Well, all it does is add fuel to the homework assignment that was given to, a handful of NHL general managers who are on the executive committee of general managers at the recent GM meetings in Florida. And we know that the takeaway assignment was for that list of GMs to canvass all GMs around the National Hockey League as the season wrapped up and through the playoffs and into the offseason, and bring it back to either the next time there's an NHL general managers meeting, or worst case, it carries on for another 11 months and you bring it back to, if not breakout conversation, then the full group at the general managers meetings next March. And that's probably where we're at. Look, at face value, it stinks. And I can understand why there are rumblings around the NHL, and it's not just because it's the Vegas Golden Knights. It's more than that. It's because it's Mark Stone and the Vegas Golden Knights.
Yeah.
This happened last year. There's a trend that's been established. Now there's a big but. But the Vegas Golden Knights cannot and have not broken any rules. They have not. I mean, the National Hockey League governs this very, very closely. It's not like, the medical people of the Vegas Golden Knights just declared that, okay, we've done the imaging. Your lacerated spleen looks good enough that we're going to clear you. Well, that's part of it, of course. But the NHL medical people would have been in lockstep with the Vegas Golden Knights all the way through the process. First, to get a look at the diagnosis, the prognosis, how long, and then there would have been check-ins from the NHL head office to the Vegas Golden Knights. Nobody was surprised by this. And according to the collective bargaining agreement, it is allowed. So unless they change it, and I believe they will change it in some capacity in the future, Vegas has done nothing wrong. And I can tell you one thing. You know who doesn't care at all about the noise around the NHL, including noise coming out of individual NHL clubs, is Kelly McCrimmon, the general manager, and his owner, Bill Foley. They don't give a rat's about any of the noise. All they want to do is defend the Stanley Cup championship. That's all they want.
Well, it's in Vegas is a very fascinating study because a week ago tomorrow, Craig Button on the show basically said, I'm not buying them, man. I'm done. They've been mad for 5. However, you still see a lot of people like, you don't necessarily want to play the Golden Knights. I think what's going to have to happen here with the Golden Knights, though, Dregs, is they are going to straight up have to flip a switch. Like Hurdle's just kind of getting back up. Stone will be back. They've been missing a bunch of guys. I don't think it's just, everybody's healthy and they walk over everybody. Like they're going to have some things go their way here.
100%. But it's plausible, though. Not that they're going to walk over everybody. That's ridiculous when you look at the Western Conference and how things match up there. And I would argue that the East is pretty strong as well when you look at Florida and the New York Rangers and the top teams that are making their way in the East. But, again, I'm going to go back to not the recent GM meetings a year ago when, we were having a conversation then with Kelly McCrimmon as to whether or not Mark Stone would be ready for the playoffs. And he wasn't sure at that point. Well, that's well over a year ago, but he did describe, Mark Stone as being the heart and soul of the organization. Well, that hasn't changed. So if Mark Stone can step into the lineup for game 1, that's a significant shift for me. And based on what we've seen of late from Thomas Hurdle, who they acquired via trade from the San Jose Sharks, they're going to be a real tough out. They will be. And they've got the experience, which factors in. It really, truly does. But, I mean, man, Dallas is so good. Look what Winnipeg has been doing.
Yeah.
Colorado of late. There's going to be some terrific matchups.
Yeah, Winnipeg's wild because they lost like 6 in a row, and now they're just beating Colorado. They're beating Dallas. So, and shut them both out, too, which is very impressive as well. So I'm sure Winnipeg, as a market, is just losing it right now. All right, before we let you go, we got to talk about the Coyotes here. How much money's going this way? How much money's going that way? And this is moving quick right now, isn't it, Dregs?
It is, and interesting that we heard from the Marullo family on the weekend, but really Alex Sr. didn't say anything other than, at some point in the near future, we are going to address most importantly, the community, the fan base, the corporate people that have been supportive of the Arizona Coyotes. It's not moving fast enough for other owners around the National Hockey League, guys. I can assure you of that. Other owners want the deal to close, whereby the NHL buys the Coyotes from the Marullo family and then sells to Ryan Smith and Salt Lake City. They want that to happen yesterday, just to move on. And if you roll the dice and maybe 5 years down the road, Alex Marullo has a building built, and we're looking at Arizona again as an expansion property with Marullo coming back into the mix, I'm doubtful that happens, but current owners are, okay, we'll worry about that 3, 4, 5 years down the road. What we need to happen is to get the deal closed between the league and the Arizona Coyotes, because it's not just about the money, the $1 billion that Marullo is going to get US, plus the relocation money that Ryan Smith is going to have to pay. Check with Winnipeg. It's not easy to relocate a team jump through all the hoops, get everything in place that you need to get in place. And then, oh, by the way, you've got to put a hockey team on the ice. Here comes training camp. Here comes the regular season.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of work that needs to get done in a short period of time.
Well, the weird thing is for this team rolling in there, they're actually set up okay with the draft picks and everything that they have. Like,
not bad.
And I saw something over the week, like they're going to spend money. So maybe it's a chance to actually get the franchise finally on track.
I hope so for all the players. You know, Billy Armstrong is a good general manager. We have no idea. We think we do, but we really don't. How much his hands have been tied behind his back in managing the Arizona Coyotes. And he's done a good job because it's not a salary cap world. Well, it is for the Coyotes. It's getting the floor of the salary cap that has been a major accomplishment for him, given the budget restraints that he's had. And, you know, how can you not be a fan of the Bear, Andre Tourné, and some of the great player stories that they have? So, yeah, again, I always repeat myself. I don't cheer for teams. I normally cheer for individuals. And there's so many great individuals around the National Hockey League. And the Arizona Coyotes have a number of those guys. Players, coaches, management. They need that shot in the arm. And it looks like they're going to get it soon.
Dregs, as always, man, we appreciate the time. Thanks a lot.
Okay, guys, thank you.
There you go. Darren Dreger, Ray and Dregs Podcasts. Find that on all of your podcasting platforms. Obviously does great work over at TSN as well. And joins us every Monday here, brought to you by Pro-Am Sports.